You got out and back without incident? Thumbs up if you did. Robert can't hear us.
Yes,
Oh.
thanks for asking.
Okay, good.
Like something, yep.
You may want to turn your volume up. We have people talking.
Okay. Thank you. That was helpful. Is this easier to hear? I just turned volume up. Thumbs up if anybody can't hear. Or
Well, they
thumbs
may
down.
be okay.
Yes.
You're,
okay.
you're
Whatever you
fine.
guys- There you
Okay, thank you. All right, so you know what? It's 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum, so we will call the meeting to order. Lori has at this point all the attendees. Does anyone have any amendments, additions, or changes to the agenda? No, seeing none. Let's go to review and approve the minutes of October 7th.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Ray,
I'll second.
seconded by Tara. Any questions? Comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, that is those of us. Hi, Bob. Lori, we also have Bob Kane, resident in attendance here. All right, so we got the minutes. Let's move on to the warrants. Doug?
Yeah.
All yours.
I will start with the payroll warrant. Payroll for the month of October, total of $16,022.99. Nothing out of the ordinary, 2 pay period month, normal fees, normal apply.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that. Questions, Ray? Nope, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we'll go in order, so, based on the date of the meeting in October being early, we ran a late October warrant, slightly earlier than normal, also knowing that this meeting was on normal. So the late October warrant, was fairly normal. There was nothing out of the ordinary other than the large Formula Ford, which was the purchase of the new truck, which had already been approved and ordered, so it was time to pay and pick it up. So that's what and that will be fully covered by, reserve funding as was voted.
Okay,
So that will get transferred once I start to clean everything
Okay.
up. Other than that, there was nothing out of the ordinary other than normal monthly bills. So that warrant is $69,415.54. And again, just for the, notation, the Formula Ford check alone was $58,268.
do you know if there was a good trade-in on that?
Norm did have a decent trade in, yes. I don't remember off the top of my head what it
Okay.
was. But it was, I want to say it was over $10,000.
Okay.
Or in that ballpark.
Okay,
Can I just ask what Global Montello Group is?
Yes, let me.
671.
That's fuel for the fire department.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
seeing no questions, all in favor? Aye. All right,
Okay,
one
we'll
more.
move on to the November warrant.
Yeah.
So the November warrant is at $66,732.23. And the large items on this are, a lot of payments to other,
Yeah.
organizations. There's a McCullough Library, the Vermont Art Exchange, the Tree Committee, Sage City Symphony. So a vast majority of those that are voted in the budget are paid on the November warrant based on the collection of taxes. So there is a large number of those that make up a good chunk of that warrant. Other than that, the other items on there, in the month of November, the fire department pays out their officers and other folks that get stipends for doing different things, within the department, so those are all on here.
the fence.
S&S fence, that is for, Welling Field. That item is there. Norm is he's gotten some of the paperwork that I need for the audits and things like that, so that's all in line, and they've done work for us before, so I just got the fresh batch of things.
I
So,
saw a couple of things when I was looking at the detail that you and I could talk about, maybe putting in a different classification or something, but nothing,
Okay.
nothing that affects these at all,
Okay,
and nothing that's urgent.
no problem. So that's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
No, so we just need to have a motion for
Motion.
this one.
Yep.
So I will make a motion to accept the November warrant of $66,732.23.
I'll
Oh.
second.
Second for Karen.
Okay.
Seconded Tara, all in
Grace
favor?
has to sign that time.
No, I think oh, yeah, yeah.
All in
Did you
favor?
get it? I had one. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, while they're being signed, we'll move right on. I'm going to skip over the highway report for now. We'll do that next. Norm is not here. He has some commitments for Veterans Day, which, by the way, should have started the meeting by saying, debt of gratitude, to all of our veterans in our community and beyond, and also to the healthcare community who continue to care for them. So, Doug,
Okay, so the number one item for me, obviously, was taxes. So yesterday was the due date for, Village of North Bennington and school district taxes. So collection over the past week has been through the roof. The vast majority of taxes come in the 2 weeks from basically November 1st to November 10th. I'm collecting probably 70% of the total taxes in that short period of time. So it's a nonstop collection. So Saturday was very busy here at the depot. Post office has been nonstop with taxes for the past 2 weeks. So now it's just processing the last batches that have come in. And then the next step will be to start to sift through the delinquencies. The good news, I have collected several delinquencies from folks who hadn't made payments over the past month, so that was nice. I did speak to another individual about going on who's gonna start making regular payments, so that's another good item there. So once we get through this and go there, the next step will be decision on, there will be several parcels that are 2 full years past due, so we'll have to start making some decisions of which ones we want to send to potential tax sales.
Yes.
So that'll be a down the road question, a discussion, I should say, question. Other items on my list, status of the audit. We had a couple representatives from our audit firm, RHR Smith, here on site at the end of October. Thank you to Mary and Steve Goodrich from the water department for working with them. I wasn't able to be here the day they were here. I chatted with them. Again, it's a slow process. This is their first year doing both the village and water department. And then on top of that, they're doing 2 years worth of audits at once. They've had a lot of back and forth, a lot of requests, but as I told the water department board last week, so far nothing has been, huge red flags. It's just been, we need to track this down, we need to do that. Talking about best practices and potentially just tightening some things up. So far it's just been a long process as they're getting through it. So hopefully going forward, they'll then have a base for us, both village and the water. And we're gonna be switching to every year, so that should also make things a lot smoother. So we're not having to dig 2 and 3 years behind.
did you get, it should be noted that, during that meeting, Doug and I really didn't know the extent of this or really understand, but apparently there had been an agreement that was sent around to us that needed to be signed because they could not finish the audit without doing, what do you call it? The,
Fixed asset.
Fixed assets, yes, thank you. Not something that Doug and I would probably be able to do all that well.
Right.
So I did sign that agreement. There will be some cost to that. I don't suspect it's gonna
I
be,
think we got one of the invoices, it was $950.
okay, all right.
And then.
Is that one
there's-
of the invoices that?
It's part of.
I
this.
did see an
Yeah,
invoice on
I
that.
think of the 1,900, I think $950
Okay.
was. And then the other, they
Okay.
do the progressive
Okay.
billing.
So that again is something that it's a little bit different from method and procedures from previous auditors. But it will be done well, and it will avoid delays for future audit, as Doug was mentioning.
Right, and it was one of those where we were both, well, I was certainly under the impression that it was
Yeah.
gonna be a discussion once we had the drafts.
Yeah,
Not that this had to be in place
Yeah.
prior to, so, it was just a little bit of miscommunication on that, for that piece.
and do you know if they're still awaiting any documents for that?
As
I know
far
it's
as-
all
As
requested.
far as I know, no, I have not had time to talk to them, it's on my list for the next 2 weeks
Yeah.
as I catch up on everything. But I would think that if they spotted something that needed further immediate action, they would have reached out.
Okay,
Because I was still under the impression that by the end of November, we're supposed to have draft audits.
okay,
That was the timeline when we had the phone conference at the beginning of October. And so far, I haven't seen anything that says anything different. So my understanding is the hope is draft by the end of this month and then finals in December. And possibly having one of their representatives at the meeting in December.
oh, lovely,
Cause
okay,
they definitely want to come, so it'll just be a matter of timing and when they can, make it work
Okay.
based on our meetings. So other items, so we did the audit and taxes, insurance, I am also working on that now.
oh, yeah,
So both, insurance for property and equipment is up, so there's a series of, reports and things that I have to generate and get to, Vermont, League of Cities and Towns, who does that part for us. Just the other day, Lori had given me our small healthcare, for our employee that is on that. I looked at it quickly, I don't think there's a great change in the amount.
Mhm.
I'll be able to talk to it better in December,
Okay.
once I can compare, but again, that one is what it is, with only one employee. We're not gonna be able to shop that, get
Exactly.
anything,
exactly,
we don't have any buying power when it comes to
Yeah.
that one. So that one is what it is, other barring if it was a
Yeah.
astronomical
Yeah.
increase, then we
Yeah.
would wanna talk about it, but it was in line with what it's been, I think it was a few $100 increase. So again, I've gotten a couple of things caught up, you had the preliminary year-to-date versus budget. My next item to catch up on is the cash balance report, which, I'm still checking
Yeah.
all of the accounts monthly, it's just a matter of I don't have the time to get that report right
no
now.
problem,
So I think those are the only items that I have right now. Unless anybody has any other questions, I'm going to end it on.
no, anyone in the audience has a question for Doug? I'm seeing a lot of heads shaking no. Thank you
Okay.
ever so much for that busy several months, and,
That's for sure,
and we will see you next month,
absolutely.
okay?
And I'll see you tomorrow, right?
All right, so let me jump back to, some comments from, hold on, I gotta find it. Here it is, it's marked Norm. So Norm is sending out a good evening and happy Veterans Day to all the veterans that may be listening. He reported that two of the three paving projects are done, River Road and Park Street. Park Street was just a small portion, not the whole thing, just a small portion. um, that the major winter priorities are done. They've been working on the drains, keeping them clear. The streets have been swept with all the leaves moving in and out. That took a while. I was hoping that we could have a bit more of an update on the meeting that Norm attended with V-Trans and the dam folks. Bob Maderos, who is here with us and a resident, joined me with Norm so we could understand a little bit. So basically, here's the thing. V-Trans does have to maintain the parent dam. They own the hill part of the property. Where those concrete wings come out from the dam, at the base of those wings is where village property starts. And it goes, if you're looking at it, it would go off to the right towards the ball field and things like that. There is a bunch of overgrowth in there that Norm needs to clear out for them. Reason being is that there is some sort of a sluiceway and structure that has a filter in it that needs to be visible from the railroad tracks. Am I correct, Bob, so far?
Concur.
All right, so Norm will be clearing all that out. He may be discussing, which it would come to the trustees, may be discussing a maintenance contract between the village and V-Trans to mow those hillsides. Because apparently you can't, I mean, right now it's not a big deal, but in the in the summertime, again, you can't see the things that are in there, and there's a lot of holes that animals have dug, things like that. So they'll be maintaining that. As that Norm would likely have, oops, hold on, Matthew's coming in. Let me get Matthew into the meeting. Hang on. Oh, you know what? I never,
Recorded.
Recording in progress.
let me just say for the thing, for the recording here, what happened when I didn't turn back this on, we approved the warrants, approved the minutes, and got a brief update from Doug, on status of audit. So now we're back with everything. So if people have questions on the maintenance of the dam, Norm said, please just contact him and he will keep us informed as he does any work in that area. He also noted that someone sliced up the fountain cover down at the thing, and he said that's why you'll see black tape all over it. He is asking that if anyone in the audience or anyone hears about that vandalism, please report it to him. Also, the culvert that was done up on Park Street earlier in the year. So any property that is between Park Street and Water Street should see far less water in basements this year than in prior years. And please report good, bad, or indifferent to Norm on that. So that is all I have for Norm, being as he is celebrating his well-deserved Veterans Day. If there are any notes I should take and follow up with Norm, please raise a hand, ask, and I will make a note and follow up. Yes, Rob.
Is the fountain cover he's talking about at Veterans Park or down at Lincoln Park?
The one that's down in front of Powers.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm curious.
Yes, Kim. Kim has a question.
I would just be concerned that the lack of maintenance of the dam would make mowing that side of the earthen dam very dangerous at the moment anyway, because there's so many potholes and hidden by grass that I think if after the maintenance is done, he wants to sign a contract to do that, That would be a lot safer than the current status of the dam.
Well, I do believe that Norm not being able to see anything, and also he mentioned that he really does not believe he has the proper equipment at this point to do that.
Mhm.
And then he would have to also have some safety flaggers and things like that arranged at their cost, certainly not our cost. I think this is such a preliminary discussion that those comments, I will make note of that, Kim, because that's one of those good things to bear in mind when, if in fact he does continue talking to V-Trans about that. At this point, definitely, he will be doing some maintenance on the village property of it. And then it's to be determined how the rest of it gets done.
And access to the village property across the creek? Is that how he's going to reach that area?
No, he is going to ask for an easement, which he thinks he does have, from the railroad tracks over by the mill, going down through that area. And possibly coming somehow from where the skate park and all that kind of stuff is. He thinks it, but he did say up by where the concrete wings come out, there was a very rocky spot that was not covered in water. And Norm said he could easily get access across that if need be. So.
Okay.
But also anytime he would have to access the village property, if he was going on railroad property, he wanted railroad personnel there as flaggers and safety monitors.
Sure.
Any other note I should take on that, Kim?
No.
Okay. All right, we are up ahead. I have nothing that was asked to add for fire or water at water department at this point in time, unless anybody else knows. Is there anything to report for DRB?
No meeting this month.
No meeting, okay.
Should we
Planning,
report the, correction? Who's in charge of fire permits?
no, I did not. Ray is referring to a letter that the village just received, or an email that the village just received regarding changes to the fire warden law and the responsibility of issuing burn permits. We were notified that the law changed. I thought I would not, because no one from the fire department is here and was able, they are not able, they have commitments tonight, they were not able to attend. We did ask for, Lori sent it to the village attorney just to get an understanding
Right.
of that.
Yep.
And see if there is a way to petition for a change or something like that. So we'll report that when we have a little bit more information, if that's okay. Okay. Planning Commission, Ken.
With kind of the permit.
Well, sorry, Ken. In the meanwhile, in discussion with Cindy today, a long conversation. The suggestion was simply tell people they need to go to the town of Bennington.
Well, that particular person. I don't know if he has. He must have a long dedicated. Calls.
I have no idea
Well, we
that
don't.
I,
Okay.
this morning was the first I saw of that
Yeah.
correspondence.
Okay.
So. We will certainly find out, and that same letter also went to the named fire warden and the town of Bennington. So I'm sure we'll have some joint communication, but I would not want to get ahead of anything without those currently involved being able to weigh in.
It's online. You can call them.
Yeah. Okay. All right, back to Ken. Several items to talk about with what the planning commission has been up to, and Kim, you can take these in any order you wish.
Okay, well then I will take the first item as being the recommended appointment of Bob to the Planning Commission. And I heartily recommend him for trustees' approval.
I will say that the trustees all have received information from Bob on his bio. And Bob has several times attended not only trustee meetings, but has been interested in planning commission meetings for a while. So if you show up to meetings, you're likely to be asked to stay.
Quite so. The
And-
second item for the trustees is the short-term rental ordinance.
Yes, can I let's finish that one.
I think we
Okay.
need to appoint Bob.
We do
before
need to
move
make
on.
that
Yeah.
appointment.
Okay, excellent.
I will make a motion to appoint Bob Maderos to the planning commission.
Yes, I will second that, but I will ask Lori, I believe these are 3-year terms, Lori?
Hmm.
Yes, she's nodding. Yes, they are
I
3-year.
think it would be useful. I don't actually know him, although I've
Okay,
heard it. So maybe it would be useful if we have address and contact.
well, once we make an appointment, then all of that does need to be published, so we can get that to everyone.
Yeah, it'll be added.
Did you want that?
Could be in the nomination.
Oh, okay, so I will change that, and Lori, I will get the address. Ray would like the address to be included in the
I mean, it could
nomination.
just be North Bennington.
It is North Bennington.
Right.
Madison Road in North Bennington.
Yes, 208 Madison Road, North Bennington.
Thank you.
That's going to be public anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once appointments are made, then we have to update all the places where people appear.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
so that, yes, just want to make sure there's no other questions from the audience or anyone here in the room. Okay, seeing none, all in favor of Bob's appointment to the planning commission? Aye. All right, thank you. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you.
Kim.
Another activity of the trustees, we would hope that the would act on is the short-term rental ordinance. Planning Commission has spent oh goodness, months on this short-term rental ordinance text to make sure that it is balanced and fulfills its purpose. And you've had it for
Several months.
months now, and would hope that the trustees would ask any questions of us that you have, and
I have 3 notes. 4.1, it says that there can only be 1 unit per property. And I just want to say that historically, my property had 3 at one point because we converted from bed and breakfast to Airbnb. So there is some like history of having more than 1 per property, but it doesn't bother me now because we don't plan to go back to short term. I just wanted to bring that to attention that there have been more than 1 in the past. Just for that purpose. 4.8 just says the word gatherings. And then it moves on. I don't know if there was supposed to be more in 4.8 other than just the word gatherings. The next one does talk about parties and how they're prohibited. But I don't know if 4.8 was meant to have more information than just the word gatherings written. And then 6.2 was just an edit. The word whose in the first sentence, I believe should just be who, to make the sentence a little more coherent. And I can pull it up if you need me to point that out better.
I'm gonna open the text now.
That's mostly I just read through it and a couple of things that popped out that I wanted to point out that could be
Which point was that?
edited. So 6.2,
6.2.
yep, the first sentence. I can bring it up too, although you might be faster than me.
Oh, who's?
Yeah, so read that sentence for me.
Unposted short-term rentals shall be owned by an individual whose.
Who owns, yeah.
Who owns,
It
yeah.
should be.
So that should be
Emphasize.
an edit. 4.8 just had the word gatherings,
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
and I didn't know if there was more to it.
Well, there would seem to be.
No,
Mis-
gatherings is the title of
Okay. so-
4.8
yes.
and 4.81
Oh,
is the,
4.81.
See,
and
there's-
4.82 are
It
the,
just kind of read a little
details.
awkwardly. I wasn't sure.
We ought to get.
If it
them
needed
together on the
more.
same page, yeah.
If it's a heading, then maybe it needs to be blue like the other headings.
it does, it
Okay.
does.
Then there's that.
Good point.
Yeah, that's all I had for a couple of notes in it as I read through it.
So if trustees, go, approve this tonight, then the next thing is, and Kim, correct me if I am wrong on this, we post this in 5 conspicuous places. We put the text in the newspaper within 14 days of this meeting. We put a summary of the thing in the newspaper. Then we warn another public meeting.
Posted on the website, I believe.
We post it on the website, but we also have to put it in a newspaper.
That's correct.
We put it on the website and in 5 conspicuous places, which would be here, the post office, the library. Typically, we go down to the cafe or something like that, and then we'll need another place in town, which can be the public note board that's by Veterans Park, or we can put it in another business. We have put things in the pizza shop or in Kevin's or places like that when need be.
I mean, we could do Powers and Pangea Cafe.
We could do those. Yes, you're right. We could have possibly also put something at Left Bank
Oh, yeah.
or,
Yeah.
or something like that, so. And then I believe there is that then we have to warn a meeting for 30 days from that, so whether it would be, I'm going from memory here, I'd have to look it up.
January.
It might be January's meeting before, we would move forward on this. But we need approval to at least get that far.
Well, I approve it. I think that with those small edits, we can move forward with it for public appraisal.
Just a question, do we know a list of people that are doing short-term rentals? We don't.
I mean, on Airbnb, there are maybe 1 or 2 actually within the village. I can check if
Is it
that's.
possible, it's not legally required, but perhaps we should publish it where some of them will definitely see it. I don't,
That's not a bad idea to reach out.
because otherwise we're going to get people.
Yes.
before we didn't tell them.
Yeah.
Well, they also, according to this ordinance, once it's adopted, they're responsible for completing some paperwork that
Yeah,
otherwise they haven't done.
a way of alerting them that.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know that's usually, there. Our ways of public notice are somewhat antiquated from the perspective of contemporary society.
I mean, we could locate those that are listed on Airbnb or Verbo and then just drop it in their
Yeah, we
mailbox.
could
that
drop
it's
them.
happening. Yeah.
Aligned with the whole attachment.
Well, I'm always in favor of more communication versus less.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a bad
Yeah.
idea, just so. that
And
we
if
don't-
it's a VRBO and you contact them via email, we can send them the link to the website and say, please read this.
It just seems like it'll help prevent.
Yeah.
Angry people coming.
Yes.
talking.
I made a note of that, Ray, and I think we should do so. So Tara had made the motion. Are there any other questions? Anyone in the audience have a question on this? If not, then I would second Tara's motion to move this forward. Any last call for any questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, we'll move that on. And Lori, I can communicate with you and get you everything you would need to get this to the newspaper. All right,
Thank you.
now, did you wanna, oh, the next one was the request, again, of the trustees for the unsafe building ordinance.
Correct. We're working on two other ordinance. One is a hazardous and unsafe building ordinance. These are buildings that pose danger to the public due to their lack of maintenance or potentially due to hazardous contents. And as a result of implementing such an ordinance, the village would be depriving people of their property. And to do that, such as demolishing a building where the owner chose not to, then we would need a court order to do that, or we feel we'd need a court order to do that. And therefore, we would like a legal review of our text to make sure that it's in coordination with
Mhm.
the necessary legal steps to do such a major intervention like that. And so we request that the trustees approve the legal fees to have a review of that ordinance.
Yeah,
Do I hear, is that yes, a
I think,
motion?
yeah,
to
I think
proceed?
that we should send that so that we are making sure we're compliant with.
What, just a point of, just a question, point of information on. It says the danger pose merits demolition after securing a court order and a zoning permit. You need a zoning permit for the actual demolition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we're complying with the village rules as
Yes,
well
but
as.
we
So
just,
it's a permit to allow
Yeah.
demolition.
but we just, I mean, there are a number of things in there where expenses are going to be incurred,
Yes,
attempted to pass off to a homeowner. We want to make sure that there's nothing in some statute somewhere that gives greater leeway to homeowners than we know, maybe we know.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to make sure that if
Yeah.
we're penalizing someone
Exactly.
financially, that we are legally
Yes.
doing it.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
Okay.
I would second that motion as well. Any other questions?
so the motion is to move it to
The
legal.
move is just to allow the planning commission to incur a legal expense
Yep.
for
Yep.
this opinion.
Yep.
Okay, that was a all in favor, correct, Ray?
Yes.
All in favor,
Yeah.
yes, okay, good. All right, last one.
The last one is also an in-progress ordinance in which we are attempting to define the rudimentary responsibility of owners for property maintenance. Specifically, this has been requested by the zoning administrator to give themselves more control and to assist the fire warden in their efforts to limit burning of garbage that's inappropriate and illegal. But this would solidify the rules about that. And so the planning commission has not met and reviewed this text yet, but it is an in-progress effort and it is a high priority for the zoning administrator. So this one we will be working on at our next meeting, definitely.
Is this already a state thing? Like, you shouldn't be burning garbage according to the state law either, right?
Correct.
This just is giving us a redundancy for the village?
It is, and it's just enumerating things that already are reasonable and appropriate for property managers or owners.
We've had a couple of complaints about people who trash collects in another yard and they complain about the possibility or the reality of rodents
Mhm.
and things like that, and that just helps.
But are we talking about garbage or burning garbage?
I think that was just an example.
Or
Yes, both.
is that all
both.
inclusive? So like being able to act upon
Yeah.
trash and refuse piles as well as the burning of things?
Yes, and it specifically identifies what is legal to burn. And that is wood, brush, and shrubs. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
But it doesn't take over the requirements that you would need to have a permit to even do that in the first place.
right.
Just
I was
because-
wondering if
yeah,
it was,
just because
wondering if the
it's-
fire part was redundant. I understand the garbage part. That was just my question, is whether the ordinance is not already a state law that people need to comply with.
I believe it is a state law.
Yeah,
Well,
so I just don't know if you need that, except that it's, a very specific.
well, if you conform to, if you can find the other
Vermont state law.
locations of prohibitions, it wouldn't be. Can't you just restate it here so that it's in
Yeah.
one place?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
I mean, it's redundancy, but not redundancy if the other person hasn't read the other place.
Right.
We will look into that and see if there is
Yep,
a
we're-
statute citation that we can
And-
include.
And we
Thank
can,
you, Kim.
yeah, and the planning commission once met and a draft is
Yeah.
decided on, the trustees, of course, will see that.
Yep.
Possibly more than once, probably more than once.
I commend the effort. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome. And with that, we conclude
Yes.
the planning commission report.
Okay.
and then we get to talk about canopies. Right?
Canopies.
The canopy grant.
Oh, yes, yes, we will do that. But we are quite a bit ahead of schedule. Michael Fernandez, the Bennington County Conservation District, he was going to appear, but but according to this, which he has, he probably thinks he's not going on until 8:25. So
I
I
have his
will,
number, I can text him.
if you do, please do. I was gonna say, I do something, we could use my phone and text him, let him know that we're ready for him. But we will move right along to the other new business. There was, some citizen concern about how we respond to the defacement of public property. Typically, if there has been graffiti somewhere, and again, we might want to table some of this discussion until Norm is back. Typically, Norm has been empowered just to take care of it. He'll report to the trustees, but he just takes care of it. We were wondering whether if it's something that is more visible, or on private property or adjoining a private property, rather than have a homeowner, be approached. Would it be the person that was concerned thought that the trustees should have some knowledge of the incident before Norm made contact with and tried to remedy the situation. So the discussion here is, do trustees feel that what we have with just empowering Norm to take care of things and report later is sufficient? Or do the trustees feel that in some situations, and it may be at Norm's discretion, that he would at least alert trustees to, here is an incident and here's what I plan to do about it?
I missed the first half. What are we giving him power to?
When there is
Oh, yeah.
there's defacement of public property, not kids, painting something on a wall, but when you maybe know more about
Graffiti,
a graffiti or signage or things like that.
the vandalism of the.
Yes, prevent of something.
Fountain, yeah.
So that's all. I just wanted to bring it up for discussion because a resident asked, had been concerned about having been approached by Norm, and then sent an email out to the village email address, and had not been aware of the issue that Norm had tried to take care of. So that's all I'm asking. Do people want to do that, or do we want to just continue with the way things are? And let Norm deal with it and report after the fact? We don't have to decide today. If you want to
Matt's
just,
not on.
yes, Matthew is here. Do you want to just think about it and and we can decide later? We can discuss, we cannot discuss, whatever the pleasure is.
So I appreciate if Matthew has an opinion
Okay,
about it, just hearing,
hopefully,
but he's been on the trustee.
yes.
I'm sorry, I stepped away a moment.
All right. Let me,
Who's that? Matthew?
okay. Did you hear Ray's request, Matthew?
He wanted my opinion on something, but I had just gotten up.
Okay. So
What-
the opinion is, when in our ordinance, I believe it was ordinance 14, I sent it around. Where there is defacement of public property. Whether it's permanent, whether it's a temporary thing, a signage, a who knows what. Typically, when something like that occurs, Norm has been empowered to deal with it and report back to trustees after the fact, after he has tried to inform a homeowner or take care of the issue himself by removing graffiti or whatever it is. A resident was concerned that there should be a different process and that trustees should be made aware of a pending issue before Norm takes action himself. And the process should be that Norm informs trustees, here's an incident, here's what I plan to do about it. And if no one says anything, then he goes and proceeds, but at least trustees have an option to intervene, join in with the resolution, or offer other opinion.
Do we have a policy on how to remediate?
It doesn't, it says it in that ordinance that
Okay.
it just kind of, Bennington PD enforces ordinances.
Okay.
But typically, before it does that, Norm has been the one to clean up things.
Yeah, there have been many occasions where things have happened in the village where we weren't even allowed to know who did it or what it was. Because of some strange rules about, if they're minors or something and restorative justice or whatever. But there was a time where somebody was harmed by something and we were not allowed to know what it was. but that the police were pursuing it and were going to seek a resolution. So I don't really know, if this just means that if the request is that maybe we are made aware of something having happened by the police, being notified by the police of that initially, is that what they're?
Well, somebody would have to call the police. So if it isn't a resident who sees something making a direct call, then the question was, when Norm tries to take care of something to avoid calling the police, or if he in fact would have to do something after that, should trustees be made aware of a situation and Norm say, I have run into situation A, B, C. Here's what I intend to do.
I don't think it would be a bad idea.
Do trustees,
Aware.
pardon?
It makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah. It's better to be pre-armed instead of
yeah.
finding it out.
And I don't think that we would have to amend the ordinance. I think this is just an internal protocol that we make notes of, so that should there be incidents, that Norm just simply says, here's what I found. This is what I intend to do. Norm's concern is if he sends out an email, how does he have to wait a month, a day, 24 hours? I think 24, 48 hours is a reasonable time for Norm to wait and get a response.
All of us are
Yeah.
quick on the trigger
Yeah.
for that.
So, okay.
Yep.
Lori, do you think we need a motion to do this or just a discussion?
I think just a discussion, and I think that it should be discussed again with Norm there. I mean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my opinion, I don't think you should, I mean, there might be a very small incident.
Occurrence.
I just don't think that
And this,
he has to go to you all the time,
and Norm and I did discuss this at length, and like I say, he isn't here to continue this, but his concern was, A, can it be his discretion whether he needs to inform someone? And I think, yes, if it is, somebody dropped litter on the sidewalk or walked by with a spray paint can and just put a line of paint on the bridge. I'm just making things up. There are minor things and then there are bigger things.
right,
And
right.
it would only be for bigger things where Norm would have to approach an actual homeowner or renter.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
So
the
you don't need a motion for that.
Okay,
This is
I
a
didn't think so.
discussion amongst you
Well,
all, so,
well, I think Norm has incredibly good practical sense,
yes,
and, yeah, mostly he can handle this,
and he was certainly willing to do that, but. we
and has
both-
been handling it.
Yes, but we both thought it possibly should just be open for discussion and put in the minutes so that others would be aware that there was a discussion on the topic.
I think if there's some possible further action or perhaps an action on the part of another party, a third
Yeah.
party, he would let us know.
Yeah,
He's not going to leave us hanging out there.
in what prompted this was that there was Norm handled it himself. And the person involved, was not comfortable with how it was done. Which is why that person asked that this matter be brought up.
I think when it comes to approaching a homeowner and possibly punitive violations with money
Yes.
involved, that is something
Yes.
we should be made aware of.
Yes, okay,
Because if it's just something in the town that he's cleaning up, and there's
Yeah.
no individuals involved.
that's totally different,
But I think if there's money involved, that we should probably know what's going on.
okay. Well, we
And he
can,
can make those decisions.
yes, and we can put that in a note, and Lori, you and I can work on that, and I know Norm is totally on board with all of this, but we can review it again next month if need be. Okay, let me move on. Michael is Warren Fly.
Michael is
Michael
here.
Fernandez is with us. Michael, the floor is yours.
Good evening, folks. Thanks for having me. Just wanted to kind of read you all in on something that the district was able to pull off thanks to Mary and our quick little collaboration here. State of Vermont let the Conservation District know that we have a not so lovely new invasive species in the county known as porcelain berry. Mary and I and a group of volunteers were able to go out pretty quickly after the state notified us, pulled all of the material down, gathered as many of the seed pods and berries as we were able to. The district responded to 3 potential sightings of the species around the village in the days after that event, thanks to Mark Rondau's piece in the Banner. None of them were actually porcelain berries, so it looks like we might have actually successfully nipped this in the bud. We will be going out come May, most likely, to rescout the site, possibly treat the individual specimen that we did find with an herbicide to kill the root zone, and monitor the area for the next 3 years. And we'll be leaning on y'all at the town to help get the word out on just people being aware that the species has been identified in the area. It's commonly known as the kudzu of the north. It's a very destructive species that we really don't want to allow to get a foothold in our part of the state. We really haven't seen much of it in Vermont, despite it being introduced into New England in the late 1800s. We've had good luck with it so far. So, Mary, if you guys have any questions, feel free to lay them on me. But it's a pretty quick update. We had a success story here.
So Matthew or Michael, the information that you had sent out, is that something that we should put on our website? You know, that flyer thing? Is that ready
Yeah,
to go
that'd be
now, or
great.
should we hold off and wait until, no?
We can hold off until spring. It's
Okay.
anything that it's all down, especially now with this storm.
Yeah.
Don't want to waste the space
Yeah.
on something that won't be relevant for 6 months.
Exactly. I don't want to put something out that people are gonna go, what would I see now in the dead of winter? So, but
Right.
I'll make a note that we can put that on in the spring. Anybody else have any questions for Michael?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just when you mentioned you and Mary, other people went out to rid this invasive plant. How we know about that so that we can go out and help you when you're on site doing that?
You can sign up on the Conservation District website, bccdvt.org. You can sign up to get our notices for volunteer events.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And Robert, I'll just say that because of the location of this one, they kind of limited volunteers because it was in the, what is it, PFOA zone?
Yes.
So they didn't
Yeah.
want to have a ton of people show up and get exposed. And I believe they had liability waivers signed by everyone.
Yes.
Because of that risk that kicking up some dirt might also kick up some PFOA.
In addition, this was it needed such a quick response. Michael had a long list that he emailed. And there were 5, 6 people that showed up to help. Which was in this case, all that was needed, but perhaps if more scouting is done in the springtime, there could be an advance notice and people could come help.
We'll basically want to do a police line down the whole length of the park. And if we can get consent from the adjoining property owners, we'll probably want to scout the forest edges there as well. We definitely weren't able to get everything. Inevitably, a bird or a squirrel carried off some of these berries and deposited them somewhere unpleasant. So we'll be hosting an kind of an annual scouting event in that general vicinity for the next few years. So we'll definitely, if you sign up on the website, you'll get the notices. And I'm sure the town can connect you with us also. We've got a very long-standing relationship with the town, or the village, rather, sorry.
Thank you, Michael.
So there's enough information on it on the website about when is it, I mean, when would we next go on a scouting trip and a removal trip?
May.
Fall, oh, May.
May, yeah, we'll get out as soon as there's good leaf out. Because a few of us are trained on identifying the foliage. So we'll do a quick little how-to and walk around the park. If somebody sees something that they think it is, they'll call one of the ones of us that have seen it over. We'll check it out. So it'll be a nice little early summer thing. We'll let everybody know when it's happening.
And when that is happening, we can make that announcement in one of our meetings here. The permaculture group at McWaters Park is also in, would be eager to assist in this as well. Thank you. Any other questions for Michael? Thanks for
Thank you.
popping in
Thank you.
early.
Have a good evening, folks.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm gonna jump to the next thing. I'll go over the grant for a second. Last year, we should do it again this year. We will have a special budget meeting on Tuesday, December 2nd. It's a week before the official meeting, and we will follow the same sort of agenda as last year, and we'll do detailed budget discussion. Public can weigh in on what they like, don't like, want to add, wish list things for the major departments, fire, parks, highway, some of the general items that we do.
And that'll be
that-
the week before our regular.
Yes, and it will be warned as a special meeting. It'll be sent to the newspaper. They may or may not choose to run it, but it's at least will follow the requirement and send it out. So just December.
Provide a visual.
It'll be a Zoom meeting as well.
Yeah, but I mean, for people here.
Yes, we can put everything up on the large monitor. If we're talking about looking at, is that what you need, so people can see
Yeah,
things?
okay, maybe a piece of paper. Data, how much data?
You know, I don't know. We're not passing a budget, we're just talking about what we want to put in the budget.
Are you asking for people to submit something in advance so we can
Oh,
study?
that'd be good too,
Yeah,
but, I'm more thinking about, context within the current budget. What's been.
like how they used it?
How it's been used,
Ah.
how much has been used.
We will,
It's only certain items.
yeah,
We're just like the people that come to us.
Yeah.
Like.
yeah.
For,
Yeah, the library is pretty good
Yeah.
about giving us a rundown of
Yeah.
what's been used and how.
They probably won't be at this meeting. We typically did, we could, but this first meeting was limited to the department, so we could talk in depth about
Yeah, okay.
but a
Fine.
longer term planning. Now, Doug always does have his report that he sent here, which is the budget versus actual, so you can see what did we need, where were maybe overages, where were we less optimistic or more optimistic. We should also review the long-term for capital plan. so that we know, do we need to start changing, reserves?
Well, okay. I'm not being articulate.
Okay,
But yes, those sorts of things, if they're available, I don't want large numbers of copies of things, but something for physical, for some people who don't want to read the screen or can't read it for whatever city. So,
it's possible,
Yeah.
depending on what we have, we can, and we have a copy of right here.
and, Doug can provide the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he knows all the things.
If somebody was here and wanted a copy of something, it's easy enough to run over there. and
Go
look
over and
at
print
it.
it too.
But incidentally, the state is going paperless in many of their things. So many of the departments, you don't get pieces of paper, you get emails, you get notices, we don't get mail bills anymore, or they will be phased out, so. Yeah, things are going on computers,
But-
much as I might not like.
This is an interface with the persons in the community. Some of them might be online. but-
If somebody wants a copy, we have a copy of right here. We can certainly accommodate. All right, the last thing under our new business is the Communities Caring for Canopies grant.
I'm in.
Yes, I am going to be here tomorrow at, hold on, tell you what time. And I'll set up the monitor, and anybody who wants to attend this webinar with me to learn how to do this, you're welcome to it.
Is this the one that's noon?
It is out, did I say that in?
I feel like it is.
It's 12 to 1 on November 12th.
Thank you, that's exactly, yes, so I will be here 12 to 1, I will show that. My thoughts are, which we could look at this later, what if I mark up my canopy grant? Hold on. That we look, yes, no, on that.
Oh, no.
That we look, because first of all, there's $40,000 available here. It's not a huge pot of money. The individual awards will range from $5,000 to $10,000. Hey, look, I'm willing to put in a few hours to see if we can get $5,000 for the
Yeah,
village.
no.
Why not?
That was my question. So it's a 1-to-1 cost share?
Yes.
So we would have to put 5,000 in. and
Yes.
Get 5,000.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but we can tile up a number of things. We can do, I would like to look at developing a municipal tree ordinance versus a policy. We can talk with the people about both. There's pros and cons to each. Right now, probably 2 years ago, everybody got sent what the basic requirement is of Vermont tree law. You can go do more than that, but you can't do less than what the state requires. So this just basically, one of the things that's a big deal for everybody is, what about when there are trees that are hazardous on private property, but they're in the municipal right of way? Our policy loosely has been, we ask a homeowner to share a cost of taking it down. There's no enforcement of that. If you have an ordinance, you can do that. And there are some other things that we might put into a policy / ordinance, which with regards to potentially dangerous trees that could, even if they're not on the right of way, if they could fall in the right of way. So all of that kind of stuff, you look forward to doing that. But we could tile that up with planting new trees or removing those trees that are designated as hazardous and get some help with doing some of that. I'm sure Norm would have a long list of going up and down the streets and finding trees that ought to be
That was in
not
my
there.
notes. But also they have in the grant that you have to 1-to-1 replace whatever tree you remove. So
Yes,
that's a-
if you're doing some of that is not already, if it's already dead, that's one thing, but if it's a tree that you just want to get out of the way, yes. Then you do it, so I think it's worth doing.
And
And-
then included in that
Yeah.
is tree planting, and
Yes.
since we're talking about
Mhm.
shade trees on
Yep.
Welling Field,
Yep.
I think that that would be a really good way to get that
That's
paid
exactly
for.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Or even a part of it. And we'll learn what exactly is necessary to put into these.
yeah, cause I
Right.
know hiring like Ron Pembroke to do the size of trees that they're permitting, which is 1 inch to 3.5 inches. Would be roughly 250 a tree.
Yeah.
So that would give us a whole line of trees
Yeah.
over at the field that we're looking for.
And if this is a 1-to-1, we buy one, we get one.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's an arborist or an official arborist, but they have a list.
Yes, they did.
But I'm willing to work with Jeff and Norm on figuring
Good.
that stuff out
Good.
and getting that done, because it's
Good.
due at the end of January.
Okay, well, I will take as many notes as I can tomorrow at the webinar, and anyone listening is welcome to come join and learn about that.
I can't come, so.
I know, I'll take notes for you. Okay, that's it for me for new business. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to mention on new business?
No,
Oh,
the
yes.
agreement sounds like a great
Yes.
thing.
I think so. Old business. I just wanted to let people know what's been going on with the records retention process here. I've emptied out my old offices of any and all excess supplies that I would have, and I've also had a friend who emptied an office, so I've got scads of hanging folders and manila folders. I've been labeling some things. There are not a lot of permanent records that the village is required to have, but there are some. We now have 4 file cabinets down here in this room. There are 4 file cabinets in the entryway to go to the upstairs. Not a good place to leave them permanently, so we need to figure out where do we want our permanent, this would be semi-permanent records here. Because there's an awful lot of things that you keep 2, 3, 8, 10 years. And then you move it to permanent storage. So where do we want? If we ask Norm to move file cabinets upstairs, they're only gonna move once. We can't move them up there, fill them up, and then say, oh no, we want them somewhere else. So at
Is there-
some point.
Is there anywhere else that permanent storage would
Mm,
be on the?
Not
village properties?
really, not really, but at some point it would be nice to have folks, some of you, even on this board or people in the public. Who'd like to just come and take a look and say, what is it that we have and how do we tackle this? At some point, we're gonna need a whole brigade of people to start looking page by page by page at things. I will say that all the old, all the village annual reports, they are permanent record. So everything that was down here in these file cabinets, in this cabinet over here, every year, there are 12 copies of everything in one of the file cabinets in the semi-permanent. Upstairs, there are cabinets, but I don't know which, that I just put a bunch of stuff in just as a holding place. So I have no idea how many years of annual reports we have, but anything that was down here is here. The next question is, what do we do with all the excesses? Do we say if people would like to come and get a decade's worth of annual report, please come in and take one? I don't know if any trustee would like to have such a thing in their possession, but there are 12 copies that could be loaned or used here
Or copied.
or copied, but I don't know what you want done with everything else. So that needs to be decided at some point.
A village collage.
Hmm.
A village collage. You just take. pieces from all
Once
of them.
Doug and I finish with the audit, we'll have a lot of other things that will go to the shredding.
Hmm.
And do we add all of these things in it? I don't know. I don't want to make that decision on my own.
Well, the latter ones that I've been seeing the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years. have beautiful colors.
They do.
They're spectacular.
But we do have 12 saved.
I do have 12
Yeah.
saved, but they're here. I feel.
I mean,
I
we
keep
could,
mine,
we could
so I
put it
have-
out to the public to take what
Yeah.
they'd like.
Sure.
And then at a certain date, whenever your shredders are coming.
So we'll do
That's
that.
the
We'll
due
put
date.
that in the minutes that the public is invited to take a copy of essentially a decade's worth of annual reports, with the exception of 2022. Lori, I have one copy here of a 2022 report.
Wow,
I-
that's been a popular year.
I don't know where anything else is, but that's it. I have one copy here. I have not been able to find, maybe they're upstairs, maybe they got
Maybe.
dragged upstairs, but they're not in these things here.
Oh, let me look.
Yeah, if you have one or knew of anything, I thought I'd ask the library and see if they maybe had something there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's right. That's why it's in that box with and marked. So, but lots of help. Lots of help is needed at some point. That's it. Anybody else have any business? It's 8:16. Ken,
I would just say that if permanent records are required, you may want to look for a space which is sprinklered,
okay,
because otherwise you could lose everything.
Yeah. Well, you might lose it anyway because of the sprinkler.
We can also digitize a lot of this stuff to make
the
sure.
problem with digitizing is that you either do all of it or none of it. And if you digitize it, then who does it? How do you find it? How do you make it, easily available?
In next season.
Yes, so nice idea, but we probably don't have. If
And
you'll
there's-
recall,
there's
I remember
someone-
we were thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Page after page.
yes, and you have to have the ability. Now, I will say the maps. There are places, if we had maps that we wanted to save,
Yes, we could do that.
we could take those and have them done. Chris,
But if you just take the copy that's on the website and save it to the cloud, then you've saved it.
that is one thing, but it is still not, unless you did that for all things. It's, you still have to have your paper record, according to the
I'm
archivist.
just saying, well, that would be a backup.
That is certainly a
Like
backup.
you've lost year
Yes.
2022.
I think if we ever do want to
If you've got it
digitize,
down the cloud, you can draw it down and make
Yes.
copies of it if someone needs it.
That is absolutely, and the same thing is gonna happen for our minutes. Agendas, minutes, warrants, annual reports. There are 4 things there that I know are permanent record. Well, I can't find. I've gone through a lot of years that I could find things, but I can't find everything. And we'll just have to deal with it. But you're right, on the website, at least for the last couple of years, we can put them in folders by year and say, here's all the minutes from this year, this year, this year.
Do we have a policy
On record
ourselves?
retention?
Yes,
Yes,
which would have, refer to state statute.
yes, you have that policy, and it lists out by
It's in
record.
my manual.
It could be, but it's also been emailed, and again, we have a copier, I can make a copy for anybody.
Yeah.
And it tells you what the record is, what the requirement is, where in the statute is the requirement. Then what the minimum retention would be, and then what the village decides to retain. You can hold things longer, you cannot hold things less, and then it goes on to say, what do you do? What is the type of disposition? Do you just simply throw it away? Do you shred it? Something like that.
let's see.
So, yeah. I'm gonna need some help with this as we go forward,
Yeah,
but
well,
bit by bit, that's all I can do.
I should chip in some time. I'm not very interested in this preservation effort, but boy, Fine.
It certainly is.
Winter is coming.
Oh, but it's very cold upstairs.
That's true.
42
up there
today.
Do our listening public have any questions, comments, or concerns? Matthew, anything that we didn't cover? No, okay,
Nope, nope.
okay. Then let's 8:20, let's entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? I think that there's not gonna be any dissent here. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. We will see you on December